September 22nd, 2017. Shout out to Mike at VMG. So Granny, when I must say goodbye, no, you don't. Little eyes funding pools.
Hey friends, welcome back to another episode of Getting Close Up, the show focused on independent artists and creatives. I'm your host, Danielle Cox, and since I have your attention, go ahead and join the GCU fam today by clicking like, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you ding the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Now, if you've been watching the show or if you know me personally, you know I am not one to be short of words. It doesn't really happen for me. But when I think about the guest that I have with me today, there was really only one word that came to mind the strongest, and it was that he is an experience. He is a singer, songwriter, producer, motivational speaker, and a beatboxer at the highest tier. Okay, certified. And I can't say that I probably know you have not met one of those. I had not met one of those until maybe a few months ago. So I'm very happy to introduce you today to Luke Skippy Harbur.
Yeah! What a beautiful intro. Thank you so much. What a great, so nice. You call me experience too?
Yeah, you are an experience. Like that.
That's so nice.
So when I first watched you perform, I didn't know what I was getting into. They were like, oh, Skippy's performing. And I'm like, cool.
Nice.
And I saw you off to the side of the stage doing push-ups. And I said, what is he about to do exactly? What's about to happen up in here today?
Yep.
And you weren't just beatboxing. Like, I mean, you're a beatbox specialist, but you weren't just doing that. It really was a performance of your entire body.
Yeah.
And so then I got it. I said, oh, yeah, he's trying not to have a heart attack.
I'm telling you what, when I first started this and I wanted to do it quickly, I felt like sometimes I almost was having a heart attack. So, you know, there's a lot of merit to what you're saying too.
I was like, okay, but really, honestly, had the entire room gagged. People were like, you know, we were all kind of looking at each other like, you see this, right? I see this, you see this. And it was really, really cool. So
thank you.
I know like beatboxing is something that feels pretty common, especially if like you grew up in hip hop and things like that, but you got access to it through another avenue. You were in an a cappella group.
Yes.
In school, but what made you say, oh, I want to do that part?
Yeah. So what was crazy is I actually learned how to beatbox from my cousin, Chris Harbur, who lived in New York City for a long time, and he had beatboxing as one of his special skills as a performer. So when I was 10, I watched him do it in a hotel hallway, just kind of casually to himself. And I was like, wow, like what is that? And he was like, this is beatboxing. And he taught me the basic sounds, boots and cats, like that. My mouth muscles got stronger.
It's a very cute name.
Isn't it so sweet? My mouth muscles got stronger, and then ultimately, I just learned my energy really needed an avenue that was really healthy so that I could focus better in school, and beatboxing helped me do that a lot. Oh. And then I learned a cappella groups were always in desperate need of a really good beatboxer. Ooh. So the opportunity for doing it in an a cappella group was, yes, this is a party trick before I enter in the professional performance realm, but now I can strengthen my muscles. I can really think critically about the musicality, and now I can improvise with all kinds of musical groups. It's kind of like its own language.
Yeah, and you've got other people to bounce off of, and you're the driving force, rather than, as you put it, like, you know, party trick. You just get up there and
which
like,
is great.
It's very cute.
It's very cute.
It's not diminutive in any way.
Not at all.
But it's like when you're 10 years old.
I was like, it's what most people know it as, right? You can't deny that. When you're 10, I know.
Yeah, when it's
sweet,
10, it's like,
sweet little Skippy.
It's like, go up there and do the thing.
Yeah,
Skippy.
exactly.
Show the people what you do.
Yeah, right. It's adorable. It's adorable at that age.
So yeah, I totally get that. But you've been So that like kind of started your performance prowess for the most part. How did you end up because you've been performing for a long time, even like as early as the age of 5?
Yes, I technically started music classes when I was 5 years old at Brookridge Day School in Overland Park, Kansas. And I had a music teacher who's also the principal there. There was this wonderful program they had called Friday Morning Music. And all of the kids in this day school would sing music on Fridays. But this woman, her name was Mrs. Crawford, the first day of this class, she stands up at a piano on top of the piano. Mind you, she's in her 70s.
I love
and
that's
she
my favorite
looks
kind
at
of 70-year-old.
everyone in the class and is like, who's ready for Friday morning music? And I was like, wow! Like I was so excited. So she was such a positive influence on me doing it in school. And in combination with that, I did all kinds of performances outside of school too as I kept growing up.
And your stage presence is one thing that really is striking.
Thank you.
Like when you get up and do that. Has that pretty much been with you, or did you have some kind of like albatross moments there in the beginning?
I had albatross moments in the beginning. I think I had a lot of anxiety as a kid, and I always wanted to impress a lot. So when I was first beatboxing, I could only do it for 15, 20 seconds. So I thought it was fun, but I kind of would do it, and then I'd feel like, oh, it wasn't that good. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
But what's crazy is I think that switch really flipped when I started beatboxing to break up fights in middle school. I'm not joking. Isn't that crazy? Because people would almost start fighting each other. And I'd be like, if you guys don't fight, I'll beatbox for you and I'll do it in a way you've never seen it. They're like, okay, cool, man.
Like in school?
I'm not joking. It diffused fights in school. I'm not lying to you. Yeah. And it was such a weird solution to a social problem.
To a social problem, yes. But like what you did is like the theme to a bunch of movies in the 80s of like how songs or dancing like changes the entire town.
It's
Why did they just make your movie instead of Footloose?
Oh God, that would be crazy. It's just a beatboxer instead of, come on guys. Like that'd be crazy.
No, for real, you might have to write that.
It's not the worst idea at all, actually. But yeah, no, I tried using it as a tool of peace and uniformity, and that's when I started really making it more of a show, because that's what I knew would shock people and stop people. So I use it as a peacemaking tool in that sense. Isn't that crazy? Yes, I know.
It is, to use it as a peacemaking tool. And you just seem to kind of like have always had this vibe of wanting to be very peaceful and to want to bring people together. And I know your story, even as early as an infant, started out with a lot of strife.
A ton.
And I have to think, is that it had to be a big part of why maybe your outlook on life is different, even though it happened so early where you didn't even know.
Yeah.
So just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the age of 5 months old, I was diagnosed with something called biliary atresia, which is a very rare liver disease. And I needed to get a liver transplant by the time I was the age of 2, or else I would have died.
Wow.
And for 6 months, my parents would go to and from Children's Mercy North Hospital in Kansas City. And my brother, too, would somehow be tromping along with all that. It's kind of a miracle we all made it out at the end of the day. 6 months back and forth to the hospital. So I was the first successful pediatric liver transplant at Children's Mercy. The 2 kids before me had complications. One didn't make it, and one essentially needed another one. And I'm just incredibly fortunate that I was the first. That gave me the negative pressure of thinking every second of my life has to be spent doing something incredible. So I put a lot of pressure on myself growing up as a kid to always be good, be a bit of a perfectionist, but through therapy, et cetera, as an adult, I'm like, having that gift, the positive outcome, is like, life's experiences can be what you make them. We're all gonna go through horrid times. But we can also choose moments of love and peace and compassion when we're faced with opportunities of like tension and conflict. That's been a huge influence on why I've chosen my career in the way that I have, why I try to make friends the way that I do, or how I even try to be patient in traffic when honestly, Kansas City, you know how bad the traffic is right now with all the road closures. Even then, I've kind of worked on my temperament, so in small and big ways. I feel like it's positively influenced me now, you know?
Yeah, and it's not a mindless positivity, because that's a thing too. It's very much a thing. It's very mindful and it's very intentional, and it has a source. And it's just really interesting that you mentioned the negative pressure, because I can only imagine, like, you know, having to, you know, speak very young and nonprofits and having to be out there talking about a story that you did experience because you were there, it happened to you, but you didn't experience.
See, right, yes. So my parents started, they started the Gift of Life Foundation, which spreads the awareness of organ and tissue donation around the Kansas City area and beyond. That said, I would always be going into classrooms with my mom and speaking, and I did really enjoy it. I really liked it. It's amazing though, as I've gotten older, I've had to kind of figure out these traumas related to body dysphoria, because I have a lot of scars on my body. I used to love them as a kid. I'd brag about them as a kid. I'd be really funny about how I'd present my scars as a kid in classrooms. Wasn't really that bad in middle school, high school, not even college, but I had this new thing of like, wow, like my body is now changing now that I'm about to approach 30. There are just some metabolism things that are happening, right? So then you kind of look at your scars a little differently on your body in that sense. Or I think a really good thing too is like with my medication that I take a very small dose, which is incredible.
That is,
and
it's amazing.
I take really great care of myself. I'm 28 years out now from this transplant. So I mean,
Awesome.
I'm no rejection too. The last time I did my blood work.
Ooh,
It's amazing.
yes!
It's crazy that I'm okay. Triple fingers crossed, quadruple. But that said, it is amazing now to work through some of all that in therapy, because I feel like I love my body in a mature, new way now.
That's it.
It's just a different kind of love you can't learn without experience.
Yep. The other thing I think about, the story that you shared, where you performed at this venue at a place called Crown Center for, it was a lot of people there, but specifically some very special guests. The donor family, the family of the donor that gave you your liver.
Yes, Aaron Drake. Yep. Aaron Drake was an 8-year-old boy. He passed away while camping in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri, with the Drake family. It was an unexpected, situation. Unfortunately, through that family's tragedy came the hope for my family.
Right.
Yes, the donor father, so Aaron's dad, and then the donor mother wasn't there because unfortunately the donor mother also passed away of cancer within the last 10 years. But he recently got remarried. We love Kathy. She's just the sweetest of peas.
And y'all have a relationship.
A real relationship. And yes, I always serenade someone every show, and I usually do it out of like a bucket or a hat based on selling tickets. And Chris Drake, the donor father, was picked when I had my show at Crown Center. He was picked. So I brought him on stage and I sang to him. And the song is all about loving someone realistically. Like, it's so full circle. I mean, it was a beautiful moment. I almost started crying when it happened.
That is so awesome. Well, you are very business savvy.
Yes.
And we had a conversation just before off camera that just let me know how really tuned in you are into the mechanics of all of this. It's not just your you're getting up and performing and stuff, you really have a understanding of these mechanics and how things work.
And I am still learning.
And
Keep
still
learning, everyone.
There's a learning curve, especially for
Big,
creatives, because
big learning
it's a
curve.
part of something that they don't really want to be involved in. It's like,
Yep.
dude, I just want to play my guitar.
Yep.
I just want to play the piano. I don't really want to get into all of this.
Yeah.
So what was that? And that learning curve comes with some really hard lessons.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What was one of those points for you? Like that point where you had a tough lesson that came about from that learning curve?
Of course. So actually the most unsuccessful show I've had so far was back in June 2023. I lost $4,000 on a 2-day show run.
Oh, what?
And I had to go, okay, I can either really let this make me sad and depressed. I can choose that this is my quit time. People aren't interested. I can also say money equals my other forms of wealth, which I'm a firm believer that in addition now to having financial wealth, as people just do, you have your financial wealth, we all have emotional wealth, physical wealth, mental wealth.
Yeah.
When I lost that much money, I was like, okay, what didn't work? What happened? And so in the strangest way though, I know exactly what to not do ever
True.
again, right? I'm very lucky that because I take this seriously, I had money in the bank still, I was okay. Other shows did really well in the past. One did very well about 4 or 5 months later, which was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and all the things that I learned from that, oh no, this went really bad show, I applied to that one that did
it
so
paid
well.
off.
It did. And I think my best piece of advice for any creative, don't compete with the month of June to do any of your own self-produced show unless you're signed on to like a festival or something like that yourself.
That makes sense.
It's one piece of advice, it's not the right one. I'm just saying it's hard to compete with Pride Month, Father's Day, and Boulevardia as a whole entire market now,
Yeah,
because
especially
Boulevardia
here.
is just spectacular.
Yeah,
and a lot
it's
of people are
amazing.
doing their big vacations right now. They're out of town.
Yeah,
and
they
getting
are.
married. People are getting married right now.
A lot of
in
people are getting
June.
married.
So it's just a lot of competition that month, and that was the biggest lesson that I learned.
And it might give you something else to crack into. I'm like, instead of, trying to book a show, maybe book a wedding.
100%. That's very real. If you know how to if you know how to do the wedding market, you'll be fine.
Yeah,
it's very hard to crack into, but I know a few wedding band people. I'm like, oh, you're set. Like, you can just do covers and you're set, bro. He's like, it's hard, man, but it's right.
Let's get to talking about Music by Skippy.
Absolutely.
Because Skippy is kind of how the name that you go
Yeah.
by performance-wise. And you have described it as a musical variety show.
Yes.
How did you come up with that concept and that it fit you?
Yes, absolutely. So I actually had a business brain first, really, before I started any of this. I was like, if I want to sustain my career in Kansas City, I can't pick one genre. There's no way. I pick one musical genre to focus on and hope that people are seeking out Music by Skippy, the rock group, or Music by
Right.
Skippy, the beatboxer.
Right.
I even knew when I was beatboxing before forming this project, I was like, this is cool, but it loses its magic after a little bit. So what are you gonna do, man? What's your project gonna be to make this happen? So Music by Skippy is an all-inclusive multi-genre project on purpose, so that now I do different kinds of shows throughout the whole year that are made up of different genres. So on July the 12th of 2024, just make sure we get our historic markers right, I am doing the We Press Play dance party experience, where I wear a helmet for a full hour and a half,
Yeah, we gotta talk
hire
about that helmet
pop-up
later, too.
performers, oh, we will, and I animate dance instructions on a wall, and it's a big dance party for an hour and a half, which is
cool.
crazy. And then in the wintertime, I do a cabaret show where I hire a pianist and I sing, and that show's a whole hour while people drink coffee and eat pastries and stuff. So Music by Skippy represents those different experiences, and my whole goal is you like one song and one show under this big umbrella. And from a business perspective, it's now I know someone might be interested in coming to this annual show. I'll reach out to them again and see what they think if they want to come to the same one this year, because it's a one-off thing, you know?
It's really embracing everything that you do and that you like to do.
Yes.
And not shirking any of it based on, well, I think people really be into this, so let me
I
just
know,
focus on
right?
that.
Humans are so multidimensional.
Yeah.
The artist is so multidimensional. That was sort of the other gut thing that popping up. I'm like, I don't want to just do one genre, man. I
Right.
don't want to do just one thing that people might like me to sell tickets and sell money for in general.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how can I really put the consumer first? How can I let someone who's maybe more calmer music leaning know that there's something for them versus the person that's like, dude, I'm freaking ready to party, man. Let's go.
Listen,
Where's the dance party
'cause
experience?
You are so capable of that intense stuff.
Thank you. I know I
You are
am.
so
For better
capable
or
of
worse. Yeah. No, it's
The dance party, like,
it's nuts, man.
I mean, because like you have your own dance. You have your own little
Skippy shuffle.
The Skippy shuffle.
Let's go. You saw it.
I was in it.
You sure were. You were the lovely volunteer.
So, yeah, it was voluntold, but it was fun. I loved it.
It's true.
I had a great time.
She was great. For the record, she was great.
It was a lot of fun, and that energy, it really changed the room. Like everybody was there because they were coming to see the artists and stuff that were there just to support, but it really did change the vibe of the whole place.
I love
And
that.
I think that's like the most important thing that I get from what you give, and why the word experience, which you also used yourself, was the word that came up.
It's a great one. It's such a great word.
And so you've already talked about your latest project.
Yes.
Now we press play, release 2. Oh my
Yeah,
God. Why
the
my
second one.
words
That's
are
okay,
not
I know.
coming out of my
It's a little
mouth.
chewy. It's all
Anyway, so a lot of the inspiration from that I see is this togetherness and wanting to create a project that isn't just about the music that you're playing, but the experience that it creates.
Big time.
Talk to me about a little bit more about coming up with this project. Did you produce it?
I produced everything you're hearing and seeing, from the animations that I put on the wall to making the actual songs in Logic Pro. Yeah, I made everything, which is weird to say out loud. And I'm like, what? People don't just make every part of a show? Is that not a thing?
Actually.
Getting Close Up is brought to you by an independent artist. No. But that's, I think the hunger for creating a show like that made me become mission driven, where it's my mission as an artist to celebrate identity and combat isolation culture. This show is the epitome of that. That's why I love doing it so much.
Yeah.
Because it's so, all kinds of people come to this show. That's what I think I love about it too.
That's awesome.
Oldest audience member at a show for this was 80 years old. And he was like, I didn't get it, but you were fun to watch.
I'm telling you, between your teacher hopping up on the piano at
I know.
70,
I had, dude,
that
I'm telling
guy,
you. I know.
willing to mosh at your show.
It's the best.
It's my favorite kind of octogenarian.
Well, you and I are going to be that way.
And that
We're
wants to
70
be
and 80.
so
That's going to be
much.
us. It's going to be great. We will hold down the fort for all the next
We
generation
will.
people.
We have to hold down the fort for all of them so they can see and know that this is what you do. This is
Yes.
possible.
Yes.
I love that. What is on the horizon for you as far as projects that you're looking at in the future,
Yeah.
the next thing?
Absolutely. So the next big thing, we press play on July 12th, 2024. And then I have actually developed my next really big show. It's called 800 Years Young. So I am a bard named Dandy.
You would be a part.
Correct. And I am 800 years old. I'm immortal.
Oh, wow.
So every time I do a show, though, it's my birthday. The audience is my birthday. They're my attending birthday attendees. And I have to do 10 tasks every year on my birthday to preserve my immortality, or else I die at the end of the show. That's the next big project. I'm bringing it to St. Louis in mid-August.
I don't have anything to say again.
Be on the lookout for it coming to Kansas City in September.
I'm out of words again. That's crazy.
I don't know where it comes from. It's just sitting up there somewhere.
I love the story of that, though.
It's pretty fun.
It kind of reminds me of those rock laser show things where it has a story beginning, middle, and an end, and it's like a whole journey. But like this bard going on this 800-year-old bard going on completing his tasks.
Yeah.
These different things that he has to do.
The 10 different things, you have to do them with the audience. So there are things where I'm going to do them. They might be a little awkward, a little weird.
I mean, they should
But I'm
be.
like, the show's not going to stop. I don't think you understand. Like, I will die if you do not do this with me. So the stakes are really high, and people are like, what? I'm like, you gotta come up here, man. I kind of want to keep doing this. I like this whole looking really nice at 800 years old thing, you know?
Love that.
But it's a really fun show. And I play the mandolin in it. I sing in it. It's rated G for all audiences.
Nice.
Because I want to make sure it's accessible for young kids. Young kids are gonna love this crazy hair and a guy in a bard suit. I mean, come on. It's too cute to exclude kids.
It's so inventive and creative, though, and again ties into you creating experiences, which is in the long run what people may. Some people sign up for it. They go like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm signing up for.
Oh, some people can't stand it.
And some people are like, I don't really know about this.
You have to buy into
it's so camp.
Yeah, it's really campy. If you figure out how people can buy into it without being too campy, that's good. That's why I usually beatbox in every single show that I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know why some of you came is literally because you're waiting for me to do boots and cats. I'm not a ding dong. Let's do this.
Let's get the boots and cats.
Yeah, let's do the boots and cats and we're gonna move it along. But that's beautiful though, because people have found the thing that they like with what I do.
Yeah.
You got to give people what they want.
You got to give people what they want, but then too, you also are like, okay, this is that. I mean, it's not so much as a bait and switch; it's a bait and offer something additional.
Oh yeah. Oh,
it's like I'm gonna reel you in, and then you're gonna get this nice little lip of crazy with it.
Yes.
And you're gonna like it.
And the last thing I'll say about 800 Years Young. I will tease out a task. I try not to talk about them a lot on purpose because I want it to be a pretty big surprise. But one of the tasks is, please speak in a universal language. And you will have to come to a show to figure out what that looks like and sounds like, because I've finished it, I've done it, I've written it.
Yeah, like, okay, all right, so... And this is exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Because one person tells another person, and then they're like, oh, I had this experience.
Like, there's this guy, and it's just, what is he? Yeah.
And then now I'm sitting here, and I've seen you perform just like twice now.
Yeah.
And then now I'm hearing this, and I'm like, this might be the kind of weird I want to see.
Yeah, I know. That's what makes it so fun, too. People are like, you're going to be a bard doing what? I'm like, you just might have to come check it out, you know?
And it's funny because I'm currently working on a D&D character, and so I'm like,
yes, yes. It may or may not have the target audience of D&D people.
May not, but it does now. Because
I'm saying, I meant that sarcastically. Like,
Yeah,
yes,
no.
it's totally for my D&D babies.
It is.
I love them.
They're gonna love it. They're gonna love it.
It's gonna be great.
With everything that you've done and everything that you've got on the horizon.
Yeah.
What's something from all your experiences that you could say, if you had to do it over again, that you would?
Wow, from all of my experiences so far. So I'm going on year 3 of being a full-time performer and producer this coming November 2024. I've written 65 songs, technically, including unreleased ones. I've made 10 original shows by that time. If I could do it again, what would I do? Thank you for letting me think. You're so sweet. You know what I would do again? I think just because it brought me so much joy and it was so crazy, because I'd want to do it again just because I want to do it again. I got to headline Boulevardia in 2020, was that 2022? Yes. And I can't tell you how special it was to have a lawn full of 500 people doing We Press Play. And it was the debut. I had not shown anyone the first release yet.
Oh, wow.
It released and was debuted at Boulevardia that day. To have 500 people dancing around like a bunch of buffoons, and then after the show, signing hats for little kids because they wanted to wear the helmet and see the helmet. It's like, here, I feel it, whatever, you know. I would do that again in a heartbeat. Honestly, just because I loved it so much.
Yeah.
But everything I've done has helped me with my business savviness, my networking, et cetera, et cetera.
All that stuff that's like the boring stuff that nobody really wants to do, but you kind of have to do it. And you can tie yourself to it more if you have it aligned with your values. Like you were telling me about your merch. You have pay what you can. Yeah. For your merch. And it's like people don't ever really want to have to say, hey, buy my stuff. Yeah. But, you know, it kind of, the way you do it aligns with your beliefs of and what you want to give to other people. Yes.
And if I'm finding other means of making money, just like the hot dog at Costco, like we talked about before we started recording, you want to make sure that there's something you offer as a brand, as a business person, that's accessible for everyone to some extent. Yeah. You just, because then that's what makes like a real community, you know?
It does. It really does. And the whole thing that you do is about community. It's about togetherness. And it's coming from a genuine place. You're not about togetherness and community as long as it makes you a few coins. Like you are genuinely about it.
Yeah. I have to an extent with paying people well and paying myself now. I used to not pay myself through any of my shows. It was people first, then me. But now I try to write that in budgets of, what do I need to be paid?
Exactly, which is
Luke's
important.
Got to have dinner.
It's important.
But yeah, there's just, you have to go deeper. You have to think, that's the long-term game of being in the performance industry, is how can you feed not just you, but other people, and ultimately know that people keep coming back because you keep offering something that's enriching their life. Yeah. How do you keep that door open as much as you freaking can?
I love that. And I thank you so much for being here and talking with me today.
Yes.
I loved this conversation.
Oh, me too.
Being able to crack into your mind a little bit. And I mean, I don't feel like, I've learned a lot about you, but I don't feel like you were exactly who you presented the first time I saw you.
Thank you. I try to be who I am. And I can't put up fronts. It's exhausting. I tried it for a little bit and I was like, no. Right. So thank you. You're just the sweetest.
Ah, thank you so much. Now, why don't you go ahead and let people know where they can follow you, where they can keep up with you, and keep an eye out for the next project.
Sounds good. Hey there, viewer of Getting Close Up. This is Luke Skippy Harbur. If you want to follow a guy that looks like a mix of Timothy Chalamet and Willem Dafoe, all you have to do is follow Music by Skippy on all social media platforms. You can also go to musicbyskippy.com. And last but certainly not least, to listen to my almost 60+ song discography now, you'll search Music by Skippy, all is one word. My whole hope is you love something, somewhere. Let's connect.
That's awesome. Not Timothy Chalamet and Willem Dafoe. That was funny.
Isn't it? Look at me. Look at me. I'm like the cute, pretty, handsome of Timothy, but then it's like, he's kind of crazy. Like he's got the Green Goblin energy going on. Like I'm not a ding dong, you know?
Oh my God.
I know me.
I absolutely love that. It's like probably one of my favorite things about you now.
Thank you.
It's so awesome. Thank you so much again for joining me. I really appreciate you, and I can't wait to have you back here to talk about more projects, and I can't wait to help the 800-year-old bard stay alive.
Can't wait.
Because I'm definitely showing up for that.
Please do.
Once again, many thanks to Luke Skippy Harbur for joining me today. If you had as much fun as we did, make sure that you like, you comment, you subscribe. Definitely check out the links that he gave that will all be in the description box down below. New episodes of Getting Close Up air bi-weekly on Fridays. And also make sure to tune in to me and Dee for GC Reviews. We give you the tea on what's hot and what's not. Thanks you guys for being with me, and you are the best part of all of this. And I'll see you again soon for another close up. I'll be checking for you. Bye.